If you live in Kotzebue, Alaska, you want to be on the lookout for two new cops in town named Brian and Benjamin Glenn. I'll tell you more about them, but speaking for me, Brian Glenn beat me, kicked me in the head, stomped me in the spine, broke my neck, then denied me medical care. And I even have a recording of him saying that he knew I needed to go to the hospital. And it was, according to state statutes, he even brought that up. But he never did let me go to the hospital. He never told him at the jail that I'd been knocked unconscious either. Yeah. But that's all right. When I die, they can't see me. They can't stop me. I'm going to the Alaska State Trooper Station in Soldotna when I die. Yeah. Just step out of the main entryway there and say hi once in a while there, people. That's where I'm going to hang out at. Now, Brian and Benjamin Glenn. Like I say, Brian beat me and denied me medical care. He'd do that to you too. And he prefers to do it to old ladies, old men, handicapped, and children. Because he's not man enough to do it to somebody his age. Yeah. So his boss there, even I got him recording of secret recording with Michael's wife, and then with a video. I recorded his boss telling three separate lies in 10 minutes. While the audio files was edited, and then he lied about why there was no video when the state statutes required it. And you got him admitting that they had a couple of cars there for a case like me. So, well, there wasn't no. Yeah, his car was broke down, so he had one of these 4 cars here that didn't have cameras on. Yeah. So let's go back into Brian and Benjamin's life there. I kind of feel sorry for old Benny Buttplug. We'll get into how he got that name as we go along. Well, I kind of feel sorry for him. He kind of got involved in the family there, you know. I mean, there's not much you can do about that. So, back when little Betty was about 7 or 8 years old, Mama started teaching him about life, teaching him how to be a man. So she started having him watch her and Brian. very loving couple. Very loving. And this was kind of traumatic on him. Yeah, his father being gone most of the time there. He's a crackhead, and he'd be out on the street there with his crackhead buddies. Get to come home for 2-3 months at a time. That's his daddy. So, on top of this traumatic sight there between Brian and his mama, Brian was also Benny Boy's father figure, if you call it that. And at the same time, after watching his mother, he had an intense dislike for women. Personally, I can't blame him. If I'd have watched that, I'd have felt the same way. So, Betty and Brian become close. Very close. Extremely close. You know how cops are when they just want to get right up in your face there, and it almost makes you feel like they want to sit there and rub nipples with you. Well, that's exactly what Brian wants to do. He likes to rub nipples. And so he started rubbing nipples with Benny. And one thing led to another. The only reason Brian really has a wife now is he watch after his 3 kids. That's it. He got a separate bedroom. So Brian went and got a job as a security guard. No, Benny, he couldn't stand to be away from Brian, so he went and got a job as a security guard. Now he has to follow, no matter what Brian does, he's got to follow him around. He's like a little lost puppy. He can't. There's only going to be one time there that he's by himself there. We'll talk about that. So, Benny, Benny Buttplug, he and Brian got this thing going together, and he had one wife there. He put up the kids there, but he somehow or another he took the kids, or she didn't want them, probably didn't want them, because he wouldn't ever let her discipline them. He wouldn't, this wife too, he won't let her discipline them. His wild ass. The oldest boy, he got his ass beat, by a bunch of kids about half his age, because he was trying to bully them. They just, about 8 or 10 of them ganged up there. It was all, I don't know, 6, 7 years old, I guess, I forget. And beat shit out of him, boy. So then Brian decided that he wanted to be Brian went in the military. Yeah, that's what it was. I forgot to tell you about that. Brian went in the military, and he became a helicopter mechanic. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. But he wanted to kill, and they don't even give you a weapon. You know, he wanted to splatter some blood, boy. So he dropped out of the military, and that's when he went into that security guard thing, but he couldn't find, reason to kill anybody there. So he says, well, I'll be a cop. And so he did a little shop around and found out the best paid cops were up here in Alaska. He became Alaska State Trooper. And while he was up here going through trooper school, he met his present wife. And by the time he got out of trooper school, he had dumped his first wife and married his second wife. And now the wife that's from up here, I was banging her, I was banging her there for a year, I guess. And she told me she had met him, I said, man, I ought to marry him. He's making $80,000, $100,000 a year. And I said, well, you're going to regret it, but, your thing, So she did. She went on and diddled him. Of course, I diddled her right up to like the day before they left to go down to Tennessee and get married. Yeah, like the day before, man, I was banging his wife. So he goes and beats me. He don't recognize me, I don't think. But he gets on to stop. All the witnesses are cops' family. And here's his chance to beat somebody. A chance to beat old man to death, maybe. But he wasn't able to beat me to death, but he tried to charge me with assault on a swine and disturbing the peace. On the main highway outside of town. I got a little recording and I never even raised my voice. There's all kind of shit they had to edit out. They had to edit out like 4 places. But they just didn't edit out Brian and Joseph Miller talking about sending me to the hospital. Yeah. So anyways, old Brian, boss told him it was okay, here's your chance. Turn in a resignation or they're going to send your ass to prison. I mean, that's what it was, it was assault on a handicapped senior citizen, false arrest. Yeah, it was bad. So he resigned. Well, from there, then we found out he went down in Tennessee to become a Tennessee State Trooper. He only lasted about 6 weeks out of school here, and about 7 or 8 weeks down in Tennessee, down there before he got fired. And from there he went to Dalton, Tennessee, up by the north border there. And it wasn't too far away, so he and Betty Boy could still be together, you know. So for the first time in his life, old Benny Boy moved out on his own. He was like 28, 29 years old, something like that. I don't know. And so he finally moves out of Brian's house. Of course, he drives up to Dalton every weekend there to meet up with Brian for a little butt bumping. So that's his third job. Now up there, they got him. They had to go up there on social media and try to cover for him and make it look like he was just trying to be a nice guy when he was giving people speeding tickets for 2 miles an hour over the speed limit. And he also beat up an old woman. That was the finally last straw there. He beat up an old woman down there in Dalton, Tennessee. And now, him and, oh yeah, while we were investigating Brian there, somebody that went to high school with him and Benny, and they got caught out in the woods there one time there, and Benny was banging Brian. So that's how he got the name Benny Buttplug. Everybody called him that. That or butt plug. Oh man, that must have been embarrassing. I bet it still is. So that was 3 places in 3.5 years, and now he's up here in Kotzebue. That's 3.5 years now, and it's his 4th employment as a law enforcement. This guy doesn't give a damn about the law. Up here in Kotzebue, there's some city officials and the police department and all that kind of got a thing going. There's a awful lot of money from the city treasury that's going to places it shouldn't go, going into pockets it shouldn't go. And there's some council people in on it. There's some police officers in on it. Yeah, it's pretty wild up there, man. We got a couple of letters about up there. In fact, you know, there's in Alaska they got they don't have they lose about anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000 people a year just up and disappear without a trace. And the Alaska State Troopers Yeah, first you used to just load them up on a boat, take them out to the sharks at the mouth of the river, and dump them overboard and let the sharks have them. But I was getting awful visible, other boats come up and stuff. So the Alaska State Troopers, put in a thing to the state of Alaska to get the money for, I think it's about 25 or 35 wood chippers. And those wood chippers, they keep one there at Kotzebue. And they was wanting somebody to run it. Because most people around there, they don't want to be dealing with dead bodies. But O'Brien, he told them about getting fired there from the troopers, for beating up the old man. And that's what they want up there. They need somebody up there that, don't mind beating people and shit. I guess I asked him, says, hey, man, dealing with dead bodies? He said, no, that's cool. So, okay. So they're training him on the, I guess they already have trained him on the wood chippers. I guess if you're still alive, and they didn't just shoot you by accident or something, you're still alive because you're a witness or something. If you're a nice guy and you beg and say please real good, why they'll let you go in head first. But if you mouth off to them or something like that, why they put you in feet first, and just slowly. Let's go about 6 inches and stop. Let's go 6 more inches. Like that. Those things are pretty handy. I mean, they got a diesel engine on them. They got they can take them down by the river there, and they got a big ass, about 3 or 4 inch, like a fire hose pump, and they get all done there, wash all the blood and guts and stuff off of it and stuff, so there's no evidence. I think they got one up in Bethel, and they got one up in, I forget the name of it. Used to be a Nome, way up on top of the state. They got one there. I mean, they ain't a true in sight. What the hell I need a wood chipper for? Yeah. Evidence. So, I haven't figured out quite yet how Ron got Benny in there. One thing I can figure is that he never had to go through any police training, because Benny's always been one of these people that he don't do too well at exercising and stuff like that. He's embarrassed to take his shirt off. Yeah, he got bigger titties than me. Yeah, shit. So that's kind of where they're at now. So we're going to be talking about Kotzebue and the city and some of the people up there, because yeah, we got a couple of people that's been sending emails. And like I said, I'm going to tell everybody's story up here. Anything to do with law enforcement, the court system, anything up here. You got a story to tell, I'm going to tell you a story. And you know, I'm not going to go out and check everything out, make sure it's true or not. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's true. I'm just going to say, hey, somebody sent me this email. But there's some interesting stories out there. And, well, you know, it's like the stories about the wood chippers. I mean, I had 7 separate emails from 6 different parts of the state, all with the same story. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so that's about it for Benny and Brian. I guess they're done for now. Yeah, I was looking at some of the stats on Kotzebue. It's as far as dangerous places to be, it's like way up near the top of all the big cities and shit like that. I think it's more dangerous in Kotzebue than it is in like New York City and all that, San Francisco. You know, it's way more dangerous in Kotzebue. And it's this little ass town. Yeah, O'Brien, he's got him in there pretty bad. About the time he uses that snow N-word up there, he might be one of those 3,000 people a year that go away. He's already pissed off a couple of people. Yeah, you better start respecting that native population. They got plenty good reason not to trust you or like you. You know, most any place else in the country, why, the Native Americans can go out there, they got their own land, they got their own laws. Local police department stays the hell away unless they're asked for help. That's how it is, but not up here in Alaska. Not only that, but they don't use search warrants up there when they go to the Native American homes either. They just search, and sometimes they bring what they find with them. But they're not liked very well at all. Oh yeah, by the way, remember a while back I told you there was a guy that he's hunting for a trooper. He went and sold his home. All he's got left, I think, is a four-wheeler, a couple of snow machines, and his airplane. Done sold his house and everything. Got a little cabin up in the mountains somewhere. He's looking for just the right place for where these troopers pull off and pretend they're watching traffic, but they pull off and take a nap. That's what he's looking for. But he ain't far from Kotzebue. In fact, I understand he goes into Kotzebue pretty regular. In fact, he's the one who actually told me about Brian Glenn and Benjamin Glenn being there. Okay. Well, y'all have a good day. See ya. Don't want to be a Brian. Benny Butt Plug.